Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu touched down in Washington last night for his first official meeting with United States President Donald Trump. Ahead of the meeting on Sunday, the Prime Minister met with his cabinet to discuss the agenda of the upcoming meeting at the White House with a focus on Iran, Syria, and the Palestinians. In reported leaks from the closed-door session, Netanyahu was quoted as warning the pro-settlement members in his cabinet, saying, quote, "Trump believes in a deal and in running peace negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. We should be careful and not do things that will cause everything to break down. We mustn't get into a confrontation with him." End quote. This was allegedly in response to pressure by Education Minister Naftali Bennett and Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked to end public support for a Palestinian state. Ahead of the first White House meeting and to thwart possible future leaks, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff Yoav Horowitz has reportedly threatened other ministers with a polygraph test should there be any leaks from the meeting with President Trump. He argued that, quote, "It's impossible to work like this, when leaks that, while possibly even seeming harmless, could put Israeli security interests at risk." More than 600 American rabbis and cantors have signed a letter against the appointment of David Friedman as the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Describing his ideology as extreme, the signatories took issue with Friedman's support for Israel's settlement activities in Judea and Samaria and his strong opposition to the two-state solution. Confirmation hearings on Friedman's appointment is set to begin Thursday in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The letter asks that either President Trump withdraw the nomination or that the Senate reject it. The letter expresses concern about Friedman's denigration of American Jews who believe differently from him and his policy positions that they say run contrary to the interests of the United States and Israel. The signatures were collected by a coalition of progressive organizations, including J Street, T'ruah, New Israel Fund, Amenu, NCJW, Partners for Progressive Israel, and Americans for Peace Now. A court in Spain has accepted a criminal complaint against 9 anti-Israel campaigners for harassing Jewish American singer Netanyahu after he agreed to perform at a local music festival in 2015. The complaint filed in Valencia, Spain's third largest city, charges the 9 BDS activists with putting pressures, coercion, and threats on the organizers in the annual Rototom Sunsplash Reggae Festival to cancel Netanyahu's closing night gig. The complaint was filed by the Legal Committee Against Discrimination, a group of human rights lawyers combating discrimination and anti-Semitism in Spain. According to concert organizers, they were instructed by the Valencia and Catalonia BDS movements to demand that Netanyahu publicly denounce Israel and issue a statement of support for a Palestinian state. Netanyahu refused to comply, saying he was the only performer being asked to make political declarations. Following a media blowout, the festival organizers issued an apology to Netanyahu and re-invited him to perform. In a joint IDF and Shin Bet operation, 5 Palestinians from Yabed, west of Jenin in the West Bank, were arrested on suspicion of carrying out a drive-by shooting at an army position on December 30th, 2016. The 5 suspects, arrested shortly after the attack in the northern West Bank, were indicted in January. Security forces seized the vehicle used to carry out the attack, and the suspects gave up the weapon used in the attack. Also in the West Bank, the IDF arrested 2 suspects involved in a shooting near the West Bank settlement of Nili. Security forces say there were a total of 89 shooting attacks in the West Bank in 2016, most of them carried out with weapons produced in the West Bank. The most common are homemade copies of the Carl Gustav submachine gun. Just one day after the reclusive country of North Korea opened its doors to Israelis to come tour, the Israeli Foreign Ministry advised its citizens that they'd have to go at their own risk. An Israeli tourism company was recently tapped as the exclusive provider of organized tours in the nation that is annually slammed by the international community for its aggressive actions, human rights violations, and weapons testing. The Israeli Foreign Ministry stated that while not categorized as an enemy state, North Korea has no diplomatic relations with Israel, and so any Israeli caught in distress while visiting the country would be problematic to help. Again, though, the ministry continued in stating what it did earlier in the week, which is that there is no travel ban or even an official warning on the part of Israel to travel to North Korea. Last evening, the United Nations Security Council again condemned Pyongyang for furthering its ICBM and nuclear missile testing program. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.